What is up, boyos? Welcome to the Loner Gamecast. I am Jake. That is Nick. What is up, Nick?
Nothing much, man. A lot of disappointing things. Well, one disappointing thing, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So last week we asked you, what is the future of loot box? This is what you guys said. You're right. There is no future of loot boxes.
They're becoming outlawed.
There probably is, though.
In one way or another, maybe.
Yeah, they'll figure out a way.
I don't know.
Well, let's get into the show. What you been playing, Nick?
I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare to fill the time. I got back into Monster Hunter World, playing that with a couple of friends.
Did you see? Did you see Call of Duty had another 20 gig patch?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's up to 200 gigs now.
Jesus.
For the whole thing, 200 gigs. But to be fair, it is pretty much like 4 games. You got the single player, you got the Warzone, you got multiplayer, you got the cooperative stuff. It's a lot of content in one game. So I get where all that's coming from, because Warzone and the multiplayer are 2 separate beasts.
Then Warzone should be a separate download.
I agree. I would love to not have that on my console.
Yeah, I don't play it.
I don't play that at all. Yeah, I've been playing Monster Hunter World also. It's pretty good. They released a new monster like a week ago, and I can't beat him for the life of me. He one-shots you. But then something a little more interesting that I've been playing was Tabletop Simulator, the X-Wing. There's an X-Wing mod that I've played with you, and I'm really looking forward to jumping back into that.
Yeah,
hopefully
me too.
Today, if you're down.
Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so much fun, and they did such a good job on that mod that it's so easy. It's almost better than playing it with the real figures.
It's all. Well, X-Wing is a board game. I feel like we should clarify that. I'm sure most people haven't heard of X-Wing, the board game.
Yeah.
If you could call it a board game, yeah, it's a tabletop game. Yeah, but in Tabletop Simulator, there's a mod for it, and it literally like automates the whole game, which makes it just so easy.
And it tells you if you're like bumped, and it shows you like how many. It like measures everything out for you, so you don't have to fiddle with the little rulers that they give you and then put it in and then move this and like, oh, did that hit your ship? I'm not so sure. Yeah, it makes it real straightforward. It's really nice.
Yeah,
really nice.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I've been playing Knack 2.
Oh, the best game of this generation, I see.
Hell yeah, dude. It was $5. Also, there's PlayStation sales going on. Go check that out for sure. There's plenty of great games to pick up if you have the cash.
I have not looked.
Also, there's Steam sales going on. I'm sure there's sales over on Xbox. I never turned that thing on, so I don't know.
So what do you think of Knack 2? I've never played it.
So I didn't get very far. I didn't play very much of it. I'm hoping by next week I beat it, like before Ghost of Tsushima comes out.
Yeah, well, that's in 4 days?
Yeah, but Knack 2 is only about 10 hours, so I think I could do it.
You could do it.
I looked it up. I think
slog through it, yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I played Knack 1. I'm one of the few the heroes that played Knack 1.
Heroes.
Because I bought my PS4 at launch, and there weren't many games. There was like Infamous, which I beat. There was Black Flag, which I beat. And I was like, I need something else. So I picked up Knack, and that game got a lot of shit. I actually didn't hate that game. I didn't love it. It left a lot to be desired, and it was really easy. It was a lot of just mashing square. So surprisingly, I boot this one up. It's still a lot more of mashing square, but also they added this like shield mechanic, and the game is actually kind of hard.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually like dying a lot. I booted it up for my nephew to play. He's like 5. I was like, here, you play it. And he's like, Jake, I'm having a hard time. Can you try it? And then I kept dying, and I was like, dude, this is actually kind of tough. So Knack 2 is the Dark Souls of Knack.
There you go. That's it. That's what it is.
Yeah. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about, Sony invests some money into Epic Games. There is Microsoft is looking to do a similar thing, only with Warner Brothers. And then we had a couple conferences that happened. But before we get into this news, how do you feel about those PS5 boxes? Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. I did see this. Did you see this?
You see this one?
Did you see this one? Did you see this one? Yeah, no, I did. It's
My chin.
yeah, I did see this one. Did you see this one? I did see it. It wasn't surprising. Still a blue box with PlayStation on it, PS5 on it now, but instead of the blue banner that goes atop, it's white. I thought that was kind of cool. It's gonna definitely stand out from my PS4 games on the shelf. It looks alright.
I think it's ugly.
Really.
It
I mean,
looks
it's a box though.
sure, but I like my games are all set up over here next to me. If I could move my camera, I'd show you, but I can't. But I like displaying my boxes. So like if anyone comes to my room, they can see my boxes, and I think the blue banner is beautiful. The the
Mm.
the spine has like the nice printing on it. I love it. I love steelbooks, which steelbooks will probably still exist.
I hope
Um,
so.
but what strikes me about the white box is like it just looks like someone printed out on a piece of paper some letters and numbers, and
That's true, but
it's
they had to do
boring.
something. They had to do something different, right?
Did
So
they?
yeah, because like when you put it on the shelf, you're gonna see like, oh, PS4, and then if the PS4 games look like the PS5 games, you're like, oh, okay, there's more PS4 games. But like with the
Sure.
white and the white console coming out,
Mhm.
I think that's kind of where they
Yeah,
went with. It's the white box with the black letters on the inside, and that's pretty much what the
yeah,
box looks like.
yeah. But like, yeah, PS3 was red, but towards the end of PS3, they
Was it?
turned they started being
They
blue.
were clear.
Well,
PS3 was clear.
the box was clear, but the like lettering was and like the label was red. Red was very much revolving around the PS3.
Okay.
That was like the PS3's color was red. But towards the end, they switched to blue, and the Vita was blue.
Yeah.
Um, and then the PS4 was blue. So they've kind of had this like blue centric thing, and I kind of associate now Sony with blue. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
they're really ditching that. I would have preferred it being like black with white lettering
With white letters.
rather
Yeah,
than
that
white with black lettering.
it would be
I
a
know
lot less.
this is like a pointless conversation. It doesn't matter. No one's going to buy physical games anyway,
Yeah,
but
I
I
mean,
will.
I will. I
Yeah,
like having that on my shelf.
yeah.
Um,
I'm a collector at heart.
yeah, I think it's more striking. Like I think this generation for PlayStation anyway is just how can we pull the attention to PlayStation, So
Right.
you have the white box and it's unique and ugly kind of,
It is
it's
ugly.
very different looking. So you've got that and then you have the cases where, most things are kind of neutral muted colors, but here you have a white banner. So when you look at the spine, you're like, wow, there's something white on that shelf. What is that? It
Hmm.
just kind of, I think it's a
Yeah,
marketing thing.
yeah. And I'd like to see like the actual box in person, um, just because like you could tell that that wasn't a real box. That was just like a
Mm,
mock-up like
hmm
thing that they made in like Photoshop.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's probably
so
close enough to what it's going to look like,
right,
though.
it's just like a mock-up. So whatever. It
It'd be
doesn't
really
matter.
cool, though.
I imagine I'm still gonna buy less physical games this generation than I did
Yeah, for sure.
last gen.
I'm already doing that. Like
Yeah,
I just bought Ghost of Tsushima, pre-ordered it and for digital because I'm like I don't want to go to the store. I don't want to. I didn't
get,
order it. It was
get
soon
the
enough on
Rona.
Amazon.
Yeah, I
Just
actually did pre-order it from GameStop. So hopefully,
oh
hopefully that GameStop is still open on Friday, so I can pick it up.
yeah
They're
yeah
closing down all around us. So
they sure are. And
um,
good riddance.
yeah, yeah. Truly, you could just pick things up from Walmart these days.
Yeah.
Walmart
Yep.
almost has a better selection too. All
Yeah.
right.
Almost. Other than used games, that's the only thing.
True, true, true. Yeah, but then there's Amazon. Um, so first piece of news: Sony invests $250 million into Epic Games for further collaboration. This comes from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. We seem to quote this guy a lot. I don't know what that's all about. $250 million isn't a huge amount relative to Epic Games' overall value, which a recent report by Bloomberg estimated it at over $16 billion. But it's a lot for one of the major console manufacturers to be pouring into the maker of one of the most popular game development engines and one of the biggest free-to-play battle royale games. At the same time, it's not clear what this strategic investment might lead to in the long run. Through our investment, we will explore opportunities for further collaboration with Epic to delight and bring value to consumers and the industry at large, not only in games, but also across the rapidly evolving digital entertainment landscape. Yoshida, Sony's CEO, said in a press release. Meanwhile, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney called the partnership an opportunity to quote, build an even more open and accessible digital ecosystem for all consumers and content creators alike. So does anything strike you about this weird investment? Well,
It's
let me lay it out to you like this. What do you think this means? The fact that Sony's investing in Epic like this.
I think, I mean, $250 million. If I had a company and I could spend $250 million, I feel like I could do a lot with that money. But over at Epic, there were $16 billion. That's a flash in the pan, if you will.
Sure.
But I guess they could. It could be a new exclusive that Sony's like, hey, you guys made Fortnite. We want something from that team. We want that team to make us something for $250 million. Or it could be, we'll give you $250 million. We want timed exclusives for whatever you have. Or we want the rights to use your engine over something, because the Epic engine, what is it called? The Unreal engine looks gorgeous, and it's always looked gorgeous, and they do such a great job making things look realistic that I think Sony kind of wants that technology a little bit more so that they can upgrade and make prettier looking games for themselves. I'm not necessarily sure if it means much of anything else, like they're acquiring something, or I don't think that's enough money for them to do anything really epic with Epic. So yeah. So who knows? It could be. This is brand new news, and we haven't even heard.
Well, I kind of feel the same as you, and I would like to know the details of this, and I don't think we ever will. But kind of what I'm thinking is sort of similar to what you were saying. Maybe not so much exclusives, because I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense for Epic to do exclusives.
Right, considering all of the cross plays and stuff.
They don't have to do that. But maybe they'll do timed exclusives. Who knows? But yeah, my head immediately went to the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm like that sticks out to me is that.
My head immediately went to the Unreal Engine, because I know the way the Unreal Engine works now is developers can use it for free, but Unreal or Epic makes like 20% of the profits off the game, and that's like how they do it. So I wonder if they invested the $250 million so they don't have to pay them any overhead. It's just like you can use it in perpetuity. Sony isn't shy to using the Unreal Engine, because in fact Days Gone was made in the Unreal Engine.
Didn't know that.
but also like Sony is known for making their own engines, like the Naughty Dog engine, the Decima engine, which of course was used for Horizon,
Hmm.
and um, that other game
That
that
other game
that I'm
you're
blanking.
talking about,
Death
Death
Stranding.
Stranding.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, I love that game. I can't believe I was blanking on it. Um, yeah, so I mean, maybe that just in the future, maybe more developers can just use Unreal. Maybe some of the games that they're going to be making in VR, they can just use Unreal Engine, or I'm sure they're not gonna lean away from like using Decima and using the Naughty Dog engine. In fact, I think like even Ratchet and Clank is probably running on the Naughty Dog engine, if I had to
yeah.
assume. Um, so yeah, I really think it's that. But then also the other thing that came to my mind um, was more and more Sony games are coming to PC. Like Horizon just came to
That's
PC,
true. Oh,
uh,
and Death Stranding
and Death
just
Stranding
like
just came to
literally
PC.
just today, I think.
And yes, they're on Steam, but they just made this deal, so maybe we're going to see more and more Sony games going to the Epic Game Store instead of
Mm,
Steam. Um, and
interesting.
that benefits both parties.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my mind was at. And we'll see in the future because maybe Sony might start investing more into Epic Games. Maybe Epic Games ends up just gobbling up Sony in the future. Who knows?
Well,
Um,
it's that's a really interesting point, and I didn't think about that because, like, you know how Xbox is just like you can play your Xbox games on PC. I wonder if Sony is also going to go down that route through the Epic Game Store.
yeah.
That's just a very it could be like a follow, like this is working for them, let's do that, you
hmm
know. But I
And
don't know.
and it'll really incent it because I think a lot of people right now are apprehensive about the whole Epic Game Store thing. Still, I don't have it installed on my computer. Um, but I think a lot of PC players don't play console, and if they see that like Horizon Zero Dawn is on Epic, they might log into the Epic Game Store. That would be a good get for
It
both
sure would.
Sony and Epic. Like,
Yeah, it sure would. I have the Epic Game Store because right now they've got, like, you get 2 free games every month, just
mhm.
like Sony kind of thing. They'll just throw a free game. Like I got Civ 6 for free one time, and I was like, whoa, this is
We should play that.
okay. All right, I'm down. I know nothing about that game. I don't know how to play. I just kind of
I
click
just
things
bought
and
that game like last week, so we should play that.
nice. We should play that.
Um, that's kind of immediately where my head went though. Don't think I don't think we'll see a whole lot of like exclusives from Epic. I don't honestly see Epic making a whole lot of games. I think they're
No.
going to stick with Fortnite for a while. I
You
think
know what I
they're
you know what
going
I
this.
wish sorry. You know
Go
what I
ahead.
wish that they would bring is fucking Paragon. They need to
Yeah,
bring that shit back.
they
I know
could
you
now.
don't I know you don't care, but like they
I
have
liked
enough
Paragon.
money and they could re up it and they'd make me happy. They'd make like 70,000 people happy on
Yeah, even if
Twitter,
they ran it at a
you know.
loss, like it doesn't even matter. It would just be good PR, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I miss that game. I miss the whole it was a very different MOBA. It
hmm
really was. But yeah, the only one that I found interesting anyway.
Yeah, I think Epic is going down the route of Steam,
Yep.
where they kind of stop making games, and every once in a while they'll drop something, but Steam just exists as, hey, we have the source engine.
Yeah.
Hey, we have the Steam ecosystem. That's it.
Library. Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
really don't like Steam actually. I'm really hoping that something else takes its place.
well, it's going to
Honestly.
be Epic. I'd rather it not be Epic, but it is.
I mean like
They both
I don't know.
suck. Let's be
They
real.
do.
They both
They
suck.
they do. Steam's just been around longer, so I have more games on there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like I don't really mind losing some games just because
Yeah, you could have
I
both
want.
launchers. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like okay, great. Yeah.
I'm glad like EA is like stepping away from like the Origin launcher and stuff, and
Mm,
they're coming back over to Steam.
oh,
Because it's
yeah.
like, dude, imagine if every developer had their own launcher. That'd be so annoying.
It would be so annoying. I would be Annoyed. I would
Yeah,
be annoyed because it's when they did the Origin stuff, I was like, oh, another one. I have
yeah,
to download another one, and then I just didn't do it.
yeah.
I
I
was
played
just like, I
SimCity
don't.
on it, and that game blew, and then
Yeah,
deleted the Origin launcher.
yeah. I that I'm so glad that they're not doing that anymore.
They
But
still do, but like now all those games are just on Steam as well because they just put Sims on there.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
EA, they're doing their thing.
They're doing something, and it seems like they're actually trying now. But we will see. It's still early.
So our next piece of news comes from Stephen Lambrechts from Tech Radar. Microsoft eyeing up purchase of Warner Brothers Interactive to develop Xbox exclusives. Microsoft is now looking at the possibility of acquiring Warner Bros. Interactive following a report from CNBC stating that parent company AT&T is considering selling off Warner Brothers gaming division for around $4 billion dollars in an effort to reduce around $154 billion dollars in debt.
Wow.
If true, Microsoft would join the likes of Activision, Blizzard, Electronic Arts, and Take-Two Interactive, who have also expressed interest in acquiring Warner Brothers Interactive's impressive portfolio of studios, which includes Avalanche Software, NetherRealm Studios, Rocksteady Studios, TT Games, and more. Um, this is interesting to me. Fascinating, really. I honestly didn't know that WB was in that much debt.
I didn't either. That was like the thing that stood out to me most about this. And what is $4 billion going to do for $154 billion in debt? What? That's
Well, I think Microsoft could purchase that and that debt could go away immediately because they're Microsoft. Um, but like, not only I'm assuming not only are they acquiring these studios, they're also acquiring the rights to make like Batman games
yeah,
and
yeah.
Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter is like a big game that's supposed to come out later next year.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and like if they're that would be a huge get for Xbox. I don't think they even give a shit about the debt. And not only that, but both Avalanche and Rocksteady are like A plus studios. Like
Yeah,
these studios are known for making amazing games. Like
yeah.
so yeah, that'd be a huge get for Microsoft as long as they don't squander it. Because I think that would put them on the same playing field as Sony because Sony has the Spider-Man games, but then Xbox can be like, but we have the Batman
We've got
games.
the Batman games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a big thing for it. But also, I don't know if you knew this, but WB, um, I think, is the distributor for CD Projekt Red.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's just Cyberpunk and The Witcher and stuff is all of CD Projekt's like stuff has come from WB.
Mm, well, that's interesting because like I don't think so because maybe they still might, but that's like a relationship where like they could go elsewhere if they needed to. Um,
True, true. Well, at this point, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, at this point, they could become their own publisher, like and distributor. Like they don't need it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but I think like the thing I'm confused about is like if they acquire Warner Brothers Interactive, do they actually get the properties like Batman and stuff, or are they just getting the studios? Because even just getting the studios is a big get. Like Avalanche
Hmm.
and Rocksteady, of course, Rocksteady is a huge one. So even just getting those studios, I think, is huge. And I don't know if like the transfer would be like you get the studio and the properties, or I don't know. I
I
don't know
don't
how that
know.
works.
I would assume so.
I'd assume so too.
If you acquire WB as a whole, or
Hmm.
WB Gaming, I guess, um, I feel like you would get everything made by and owned by WB Gaming. I don't think
Yeah, but that was like the interesting thing, and why no one wanted to buy Telltale, right? Because no one had interest in buying Telltale because yes, they made a bunch of big games, but they didn't own any of those properties. So
Right.
there was no one was interested in owning Telltale because it's like, why would we buy you? You guys have nothing.
Yeah, you guys don't own anything. You've just been making stuff from other things, which
Yeah.
which might be the case for Batman and maybe Harry Potter, you know?
Well,
But
and Mad Max from Avalanche, and
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But like just having those studios and in the way that Microsoft has been acquiring studios, I feel like this isn't too far of a stretch for them to acquire,
well, I think yeah, I
extra
think like
studios.
a studio like Rocksteady, that's like Naughty Dog levels of, like, that could easily become
The new Halo.
Xbox's like Naughty Dog, because
Yeah,
Rocksteady really is that good.
yeah.
Um,
They just don't make a whole lot.
yeah,
It's
we don't even know when their next game is supposed to be. This
yeah.
could be why they're in so much debt too.
Mm,
Um, but like
yeah.
that's also what I'm wondering is like, when that Harry Potter game drops and when that Batman game drops, or the Suicide Squad game, and then whatever um, Avalanche is working on,
Hmm.
and I know they're also working on Arkham Knights. Like, when all these games drop, I wonder if they're gonna, if the interest of selling is gonna dissipate, and this might just fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
I
It
wonder if
might
they're waiting on that.
it might be better now to buy it as soon as possible before these games come out, because then you get all the profits of that.
Mhm.
You would have all of those, and it would take, maybe it's because of this debt that it's, like you said, it's taking them for so long to release these games. But if Microsoft jumps in and it's like, hey, just finish the games. You have money now, finish them.
Yeah,
They'd be like, shit, okay, well, we can do that in another year. And they'll be like, perfect, go. Whereas like Warner Brothers, like, we're in a lot of debt, just you have this budget and work with
yeah.
that. And then,
But
so who knows?
I have to believe that Rocksteady game is coming out next year, because it's been 6 years since Arkham Knight. Like, it has to be coming
Yeah.
out next year. Um, I don't know. There's a lot to There's a lot to this that there isn't enough information. So we'll keep you updated on it, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, dude, that'd be a huge get for any of these companies, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was Microsoft who did it, because Microsoft has been gobbling up studios left and right. It
Yeah.
seems like Microsoft is just really building up to have a crazy amount of exclusive games next gen.
Well, let's hope that they don't kill off all of the things, you know, because when they acquired,
Yeah,
when they started working on, the one that comes to mind is the that dragon game from Platinum. I forget what it's called.
yeah,
Scalebound. That's what it was
Scalebound. Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Yeah, that looked really interesting, really unique. And then they're like, yeah, shut it down. And then they
yeah.
did that with a couple other games, and it was like, but what are you doing? Like this was
It's
unique.
true, but also like they just picked up what's that? What's that company? The guys who made Hellblade,
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory. Is it Ninja Theory? I don't know. Something Ninja. They picked them up, and now Hellblade 2 is like on its way. So
True.
like,
That's true.
I think
But
they're really trying to build their profile. They're really trying to. I think they're really going to try and catch up to PlayStation this next gen.
I
I
think you're right. I
think they
think you
have
are right.
to, and I think what they know right now is that they're not going to catch up to PlayStation at the beginning of the life cycle. I think they
Hmm.
know that they're going to lose from the start. But I think they're like, if we acquire more studios and release more exclusive games, much like the
Throughout the
PlayStation
generation.
3 overtook the Xbox 360, I think that's what they're hoping with the next gen, is
Yeah,
that
and
they overtake PlayStation just by having a crazy amount of exclusives. Because, dude, I'll tell you what, if they get Avalanche and Rocksteady, that gets me hot and bothered, and it gets me like I might pick up an Xbox just to play the new Batman game. And if
Yeah.
whatever Avalanche is working on, I love Avalanche. Like,
You know, it would take some exclusives to get me over there, because I have an Xbox One, and I played Titanfall and I played Sunset Overdrive, and that was it.
yeah,
I am
I
like
played
on the
that one.
fence about getting Forza Horizon, even though that game looks incredible. It's like, well, I never plug in my Xbox. I never want to like set that up. But if they have more exclusives than the three that I'm interested in, then say they have like 10 games that it's like, wow, I need to play these games. I might, set up my Xbox right next to my PlayStation, and
Yeah, well, and the hotness is every every game that comes out exclusively for Xbox comes to Game Pass. So
does it
that could,
really?
yeah,
Is that a
that
thing that they said?
no, that is a thing that already happens.
Oh,
Like Gears 5 came out exclusively on Game Pass, like day one. Um,
huh.
so that would also mean like Batman, you
Yeah.
know, whatever Avalanche is working on, whatever NetherRealm is working on, all these games are going to be coming to Game Pass, which could be huge, dude. Like, not even just like, I think that's what they're aiming for more than their own console is like, how many people can we
Subscriptions.
get over to Game Pass? Because if
Yeah.
we got, I don't know, 200 million people subscribe to Game Pass and then an extra 200 million subscribe to Xbox Live, like,
Oh, that's so much money.
well, they have a deal where it's like $15 a month for both. But
Oh, that's all right. But
yeah.
that's still like,
I mean, it's only a matter of time before Sony does that. And you don't have to do that. You could just buy games the way you buy
right,
games for PlayStation too.
right. That's
Um,
true. That's very true.
it's totally up to you. I think it's a smart business model. It benefits everyone. It benefits me because I can just pay $15, play Batman for a month, end my subscription, didn't pay $60 for a new game, paid 15, but then there's the suckers who just keep paying for it even when they're not using it. And that's
Yeah, I think that's where most of their money comes from. Is just
yeah,
like, I get,
exactly.
it's more of a hassle to cancel it than to keep it
Yeah.
taking $15 out of my account for
Yeah.
sure.
And that's on them. So
It is. It really is. It's like the
well,
people that buy into microtransactions and loot boxes and
spent
bullshit.
a lot longer on that than I had intended, but I enjoyed the discussion.
Yeah,
Um,
it was good. Let's get on to the fun
so
shit.
over the weekend, we had
Woo!
two pretty big, both of them sort of underwhelming. One of them way more enjoyable though,
For
uh,
sure.
but I'd say equally underwhelming.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
just by
yeah.
the fact like of what they showed. We're talking about Devolver Digital had a conference,
On
which I'm
Saturday.
sure most gaming outlets are not talking about because it's Devolver. And
Right.
then Ubisoft had a conference. We'll talk about Devolver first. We'll get into this. I have a lot more to say about Devolver. So
Yeah.
Devolver every year does a sort of bonkers meta narrative conference. It started in 2017 with a just like crazy
Over
bonker.
the top. Over
Like
the
even
top.
though most
Like,
of those games have come out already that they're talking about in those conferences, I beg everyone just go back and watch them, dude. They're insane and really funny, and the narrative is very much like fuck gaming, fuck
yeah.
this whole
This whole
cancerous
this whole
thing.
thing is bullshit, and
Yeah,
everybody should feel bad for what they're doing.
you're
And
cheering for marketing is
yeah,
what your guys are doing. Yeah, that's basically their whole thing.
it's pretty great. It's honestly just a big old middle finger to the whole industry, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So it started because last year's Devolver ended with uh, our CEO of Devolver, CEO in quotes,
Yeah,
Nina Struthers.
Nina Struthers,
It
she's
ended
the
with her,
greatest.
someone coming to her and being like, "Hey, we're gonna rescue you," and then it cut to this year, and they're watching it on a TV, and they're like, "That's the future's future." But we're in the
Hmm.
future's future, and we want to stop the future's future from by
from
stopping it in the future's future.
right. Because this won't happen. The future's future won't happen unless we stop the future's future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I take it they had some sort of story narrative that they had to change because of COVID. But that's still hilarious. Like, that's fucking hilarious. And then they showed Shadow Warrior 3, which comes out in 2021. They didn't put a date on it. They just said 2021, which Shadow Warrior 3 looks awesome. Any thoughts
Yeah.
on Shadow Warrior 3?
It looks like a colorful Bulletstorm meets Doom meets
Yeah, to me it's Ninja Doom.
Ninja Doom. That's a good one. Yeah,
Ninja
it's got a
Doom.
little bit more mechanics than Doom.
Yeah, it seems like you can interact with the world a lot more. There was like spinny, like spiky things that like destroyed things and look cool.
You could like pull them towards you, and they're on
Flame
rails,
bombs
and you can shove demons into them.
Zip line, like a slingshot, which looked really cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I don't know if I'll play it. I didn't play any of the other ones. I was interested in Shadow Warrior 2, for the comedy and stuff, but I may have outgrown that kind of slapstick, stupid comedy. But maybe.
Yeah, I might pick it up if it's not 60. So then it went on to like, it brought up some like meta commentary about how there's so many like directs and the market is being saturated by the hype machine. Everyone's so hyped about games that don't even exist, and then they get canceled.
That will never exist, yeah.
And they don't come out for like years and years and years. I mean, Bethesda is like the worst at this, right? Where like they announced Elder Scrolls.
Oh yeah. Elder Scrolls.
Obviously, they haven't even started it because they're still working on Starfield or whatever that game is.
And that's another one of the games that's just like, we don't know what it's out there somewhere. Eventually, maybe, possibly, it'll come out. Who the fuck knows? It doesn't matter.
This whole section was honestly brilliant. I thought it was hilarious and just like really good, like a good narrative. I love Devolver, dude. The fact that they have the balls to come out here, and granted, and they acknowledge it, like, hey, this is marketing too, and we're doing this to impress the gamers. Like, they know who their audience is.
It fucking works.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's like, it's just, it's hard to explain. But it fucking works.
They totally know who their audience is, and it's us. And then Shuhei Yoshida came out.
Yeah,
which was wild.
It was wild. That was unexpected for sure. He used to be the CEO of Sony, of PlayStation.
He's the president
of PlayStation.
But now he's the head of the Indie Initiative.
Yeah, on PlayStation still.
Yeah, and they had a funny little bit with Shu. And then she was like, I edited this myself, which he didn't, but it was funny.
It was,
And then they showed Fall Guys, which is this weird ass battle royale sort of wipeout thing.
Yeah, it looks genuinely fun.
It's like a battle royale that looks like Wipeout, but it's got like the game mechanics of Gang Beasts.
Gang Beasts, or any of those silly
Humans Fall Flat.
Yeah. That's a better comparison, I'd say. Humans Fall Flat. You got this wonky little guy who's just trying to get through obstacle course, and the physics are all funky, and you gotta do some sort of thing with 100 other people, and only one of you can make it.
Yeah, it looks fun as fuck. I'm excited for it. It comes out August 4th. I will be playing the shit out of that with you, probably.
Yeah. I'm buying that day one. That looks just stupid fun, honestly.
Oh, yeah. And then the Carrion Beast came out.
Carrion Beast.
It was like a puppet.
Good. It was so good. It was fantastic.
And it was a callback to last year because the Carrion Beast was there last year.
Yeah, he burst out of somebody's chest.
Yeah, and the Carrion Beast came out, and he was being a diva because he had to share the screen with someone, and that someone happened to be Phil Spencer
from Microsoft. Yeah.
The head of Xbox came out, Phil Spencer, and he's like, "Hey, we got a demo to show you. Here it is, and then they showed off Carrion, which is coming out July 23rd. Which
Right around the corner.
I got to play a little bit of this game at PAX last year. Fucking awesome, dude.
So good.
So fun. I know it's already in early access, but yeah, it comes out July 23rd. The reason Phil Spencer was there because obviously it's coming to Game Pass.
And Switch.
Not PlayStation, but whatever.
No. I'll play it on Switch.
I'm gonna play it on Game Pass.
You play as like this demon ball of monster who you're the bad guy in a monster movie is what it is. It's a side scroller monster movie and it looks great.
Yeah. It's like a 2D game, but it has like really awesome graphics
for being a 2D game.
It's like 8-bit even, or 16-bit.
16 is probably closer to what it is. It's probably like a 32-bit, honestly.
I mean, yeah, it's probably like, it's faking it, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
And then they've been talking, then it goes back to the conference, and they've been talking about this architect throughout the whole thing, and it turns out the architect is Jeff Keighley. So Jeff Keighley comes out, and they just kind of make some jokes, and it was really just a chance for him to talk about his summer of gaming that's happening, which I still don't really understand the point of that whole thing.
I don't get it either. I don't. It's happening now, apparently,
well,
but
it's just kind of ironic that they brought Jeff Keighley on to talk about that when literally earlier they were talking about market saturation because there's too many directs. It's like, well, Jeff Keighley is directly responsible for that right now. So, not that I love Jeff Keighley, dude. I do. I think he's a cool dude. I'd love to give him a hug one day.
Have him on the show.
Yeah, have him on the show. Do a deep dive with him, whatever. But it's just kind of ironic because what they were talking about earlier is exactly what Jeff Keighley is doing with the Summer of Gaming, which I appreciate the Summer of Gaming right now because it's just him trying to be like, hey, there's no E3. There's probably no Game Awards. So this is what I'm giving you instead. And I appreciate that. That's cool. But yeah.
He's adjusting to the times for sure.
And then they're like, they made a joke. They're like, let's show announcements. And they're like, but these games don't actually exist. And she's like, show them anyway. And
we got to create hype for fake games that aren't going to come out anyway.
So then they showed Getting Down with Bennett Foddy.
I don't know who Bennett Foddy is.
Bennett Foddy, here, I'll look it up.
Okay.
Fill the air. Bennett.
They showed up a whole bunch of games. Getting Down with Bennett Foddy, and Bennett Foddy apparently is just like, you can play.
Bennett Foddy is the guy who made Getting Over It. You know that game with the hammer, and you have to like climb, and then you fall. That's Bennett Foddy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's making a fake game that'll probably never release called Getting Down with Bennett Foddy. Don't know what it's about. And then there's a new team that they announced. Yeah, called the Beans team, and they're hiring people.
The website does exist though, and it's just a stupid fucking website. Like they were just fucking around. That was probably just like two people that work at Devolver. They're just like, we got the Beans team.
Beans team here, yeah. We're real excited for something we're making. We're probably making something. It'll maybe come out, and who knows. And then there was a fox that came onto the screen.
Well, it was Sonic Fox.
Well, he removed his head.
Oh, right.
And then it was Sonic Fox. Wow,
yeah,
he just spoiled my whole. That's all right. And he's making a new game called Furry Fighter 4. So look out for that.
And if you don't know who Sonic Fox is like the reigning champion for every fighting game ever. Dragon Ball Fighters, Tekken, like he plays everything. Street Fighter, like he's legit. He's also a furry. No judgment here.
No. Just don't be weird.
And then they showed Geralt's bathtub.
Yeah, and that was it. And it was just Geralt going, what do they want me to do? In the background, you can't see him. And then he's like, I'm not doing that. And then it cuts off, and that's the whole thing. Yeah. He's just like, hey, I'm not going to do that. And it really spooked the guy who was like playing these, who had like this iPad, and he's like, "Wow, that was Geralt of Rivia," and and we and he just was like speechless. Um,
Yeah,
but
and then
I'll let
they were like, we don't have anything else to show, and he's like, and then one of the guys was like, well, my uncle who works at Nintendo, he could come. So then, and then Nina Struthers is like, here's my uncle who works at Nintendo. Do you have anything for us? And it was just like a really funny bit.
it was
And then they showed this game, Ulija. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Ulie. I think
Olie?
is Olie. I think
Ija?
is how you say it.
I don't know.
Olija.
Yeah, Olija. It looks really fun. Another 2D sort of platformer action
16-bit
slingshot.
side-scroller.
It gave me like Celeste vibes.
Yeah. There was
yeah.
another game that came out made by Devolver. I forget what it was called. It was a ninja game. Same kind of vibe.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Looks fun. The demo is out now on the Switch, which is why they were saying my uncle who works at Nintendo, because it's a Switch game. Yeah, looks really fun. I'm excited about it. I will probably boot up the demo today. And then they showed more Serious Sam 4. They did a little bit with the dude.
The headless guy came out with the bombs. The exploding guy.
That comes out in August. They already showed Serious Sam 4 though, like earlier this year, so not huge news.
They showed gameplay, and it looks fine. It's kind of it looks like Doom, but with less budget.
I'll let you talk about this last thing because I didn't do it, but you did it. So.
Oh yeah, and then at the end of the show, they like save Nina Struthers. They save the future. I think.
Yeah, the future's future.
By installing
stopping it in the future's future.
Right, by installing this software to upload, and it was called Devolver Land Expo. And what that was a free game on Steam where it's kind of like a stealth game where you kind of break into a convention center and you just kind of walk around avoiding these robots or shooting them if they spot you with a t-shirt cannon. And you walk around the expo floor and you just look at all of what Devolver has. It's kind of like a virtual convention. Like it's like going to a convention that's closed and all the booths are still up and you're like, and they're still running, and you get to look at demos and trailers and stuff and developers talking about their games. There was a game in it called Weird West that looks really good that they didn't mention in the entire press conference. But if you have a chance to look it up, Weird West is a really cool looking procedurally generated game. And I've played through the whole thing. You get to a boss fight, and it's an easy game. It's a walking simulator with somewhat of a gun. But yeah, it's really cool, and I feel like this could somehow be the future. Futures. It could somehow be like how expos are done in the future. You know, like you have the floor in real life where you go to E3 and you can walk around the showroom floor, but then you also have like a virtual E3 that everybody at home can also walk around and maybe like get swag for in-game stuff, or you you watch a trailer, you get some incentive.
It's like that PlayStation thing, the PlayStation I forget what it's called. Yeah, PlayStation Home or whatever it was.
Yeah,
people can like hang out and watch things together.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if you like load it into a lobby of like I think
it makes sense in a time
or something.
It makes sense in a time of COVID, but I'm assuming we won't be dealing with COVID forever.
Let's hope.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm assuming one day we will be able to go outside again.
We will be able to shake somebody else's hand, talk to people face to face.
I mean, my predictions for video games aren't very good. I can't imagine my predictions for COVID are much better. But yeah, I'm assuming, conventions will exist again. And a lot of and I was mentioning this to you yesterday because you were kind of saying like this could be the future of expos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great in theory, but it's like a lot of the demos that you play at expos are like really early builds, and it's like the full game that there's just like partitioned off, and like I can't
Yeah.
imagine without the game being like 10 terabytes large. I can't imagine that happening.
Yeah, you brought that up yesterday, and I didn't bring it up on the show because it was like, yeah, you're totally fucking right, and that my idea was stupid. But you could, instead of having YouTube videos, I thought about it a little bit. Instead of having just going to YouTube and watching videos, maybe the developers incentivize something like, instead of pre-order bonuses, you have playthrough our if not playthrough, but like go through our virtual
Yeah,
expo, and you
and
get
like
like a limited in-game thing. Who knows?
and
Or
it
extra
could be
points.
like there are some demos and there are also some gameplay trailers.
Yeah,
For the games that are really early on, they could do trailers, and then
and it
yeah,
could just be like developer discussions where they're just like, yeah, this is our idea for this game that's coming out. It
or
doesn't
like when
even
we went to
necessarily have
PAX.
to.
If
Yeah.
you remember when we went to PAX and they had the booth for Death Stranding, maybe something like that for the games that are really early
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I could see it happening. You'd have to have all the developers like come together to work on something like that. But I think Devolver was kind of showing that they could get the developers together because they had both Shuhei Yoshida and Phil Spencer.
That's true. And
Same
Jeff
conference.
Keighley. He's not a developer, but he was there.
Yeah, I think Jeff Keighley would do anything though.
That's true.
Yeah, so maybe that's them showing like, hey, we can get everyone together. Everyone loves us. We're Devolver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. That could be kind of neat.
It would be. It would be cool. I don't know how far in the future it would be, but it's a cool idea that if
Probably
executed,
the future's future. But,
yeah, exactly. But if able to be executed at some point, I feel like that would be the coolest way to do that sort of stuff.
So earlier I said I was a little disappointed with Devolver's press conference. And the reason I'm disappointed is because they showed like maybe 4 or 5 games, and the thing was like 40 minutes long.
Oh, so fucking long, and it's just so filled with bullshit.
Yeah, it was too long for Devolver. I mean, it was really funny, but like it was just too long.
Devolver.
I'm still talking about Devolver.
Okay, you're talking about Devolver. Yeah, that was good. I thought it was great. I liked the.
It was 40 minutes long, which all the other ones were about 15 to 25 minutes long.
Yeah,
and they showed more things. So I don't know. It just felt too long, but it was fine. It was funny. I enjoyed it. Yeah, but let's talk about Ubisoft Forward.
A whole story about it. They've been like developing a story about it. In the first one, there wasn't really a story, and that was like the shortest one. It was just jokes, and then they kind of made a story with the second one, and now they're finished. They're continuing it on. So yeah, I liked it, though it was 40 minutes long. Anyway, the next thing.
Let's talk about Ubisoft Forward. Let's talk about a conference that's way too fucking long.
Yeah.
That has
for no goddamn reason.
No right being this long.
Yeah.
Ubisoft Forward, which they showed 1, 2, 3, 4 games, and then a few phone games.
Yeah, four games. Yeah, and
just
then
put Battle Royale in here. What's the name of the game?
I don't remember what the name of the game was. It's stupid.
It's stupid.
It's a battle royale. It doesn't matter what it is called. It's
called Hyperscape.
That's what it is.
Okay, so let's go down the list here. All they talked about was Watch Dogs, which we know everything about because it was supposed to come out in fucking February.
That's not true, though.
I don't know, dude. The game looks exactly how I expected it to. It looks fun, though. I will say, I'll probably play it.
I want it. It looks really good. They just needed more time. And that's what it was.
Yeah, and I think they said it's coming out. I don't think they even set a date, did they?
It's October. Wow, we are so unprepared.
I know. That's October 29th.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fucking soon. Yeah, I might pick that up. That looks like fun.
It does.
They spent way too much fucking time on it, though. I was just like, come on, move on. Like, we see it.
Because it was like a trailer. It was a short film, the guy said, and then it moved on to like developer discussion about it, and then it moved on to gameplay on it, and then it went back to developer discussion, and it was like, We
I would
get
have
it.
I would have
We
been
get
fine
it.
with just gameplay.
Yep.
And maybe the short film. The short film
Yeah.
and gameplay.
Yep.
They didn't need any of that other fluff. They could have put that in their pre or post show. They could have
Yep.
cut this whole thing down like 20 minutes because the whole thing
If
was like,
that, if that, like
yeah,
15 minutes based on all the shit that we've seen.
yeah. And then they showed a bunch of phone games, which I'm not even going to mention. There was like some battle royale phone game and like some other bullshit. And then they showed this game Hyperscape, which I think actually looks cool. It is a battle royale, so that kind of turns me off a bit. It's an open beta right now,
Yeah.
so you could go try it. Maybe
The,
I wonder how well that would run on my PC. But
the most interesting part about this battle royale, and that separates it from the rest of the battle royales, because fuck's sake, they all have to have one thing that's different.
unless you're
Is
Call of
that
Duty, which can just be a fucking regular ass shooter. But
yeah. Well, no, because that's got the gulags or whatever, where you can come back, you can fight your way back. So
yeah,
each one of them has something stupid, a gimmick that they
sort of
have.
gimmick.
This
Yeah,
one's kind of cool because you can watch on Twitch if you're a streamer, or you watch a streamer. They'll have like voting times where you could like vote, like gravity's 50% now, and it'll
really?
affect. Yeah, you didn't see that?
No,
Yeah, yeah, and then there's also they also make it really easy to join a streamer via Twitch into the game. So it's like hand in hand with the Twitch.
it's like
Uh,
XCloud.
yeah, yeah, it's very much like that. It's just like, I want to play that game with that guy, or if I can't play that game with that guy, I'm gonna vote to make it harder for that guy or easier for that guy or change something. And that's cool. That's
That's
probably the
interesting.
coolest thing that they have going for it. But it
Yeah,
looks like a battle royale anyway.
I thought it looked fun. The gameplay looked okay. It looked
Yeah,
pretty. It had some
yeah,
like weird like time manipulation stuff going on, and like you could like dishonor jump or something in there. It looked all
yeah.
right.
You had like abilities where you could turn into a ball or
I was kind of hoping that
teleport
there would
or
be some sort of single player connected to it, so I could just play with the mechanics rather than playing a boring ass battle royale game. But
yeah.
yeah, there it is. And
That's,
then they showed Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which they did not announce the date of at the show, but then the next day they said it's coming out November 17th. So
yeah.
there you
And
go.
they didn't really show gameplay, even though they said, once again, here's gameplay
They did
of
show
Assassin's Creed.
more
They showed
gameplay.
more, but it was like it would be like a cut scene. You'd see a cut scene, and then these guys would push away from the dock in game, and then you'd see them. They would cut, and then it'd be in the water, and they'd be rowing, and then that would be it. They'd cut to like it was just all over the place.
I mean, they really broke it down though. They showed that there's stealth. They showed that there's action. They showed that there's sort of a shadow of Mordor sort of enemy
Enemy
system,
system, yeah,
which is cool, I guess. But like, it just looks like more of the same. Honestly, I was excited for Valhalla when I first heard about it because I heard they were going back to like more classic Assassin's Creed.
hmm
But it seems like it's just more of Origin and Odyssey, and it looks janky. It looks unfinished. It looks like I wouldn't be surprised if they delayed it. I don't know why they need to like push these games out so quickly,
I don't.
because there was a time there where they were like, let's just wait a bit, and that's when
Yep,
Origin came out and everyone loved it.
yep.
And ever since Origin came out, they've been back on that yearly cycle, that yearly grind, or maybe every 2 years. But like,
It's still to like just make the game smaller, spend more time on it, and you make go back to the old
yeah, go back to
system.
the
It's
old
just
way and spend like 4 years making a good game.
yeah, instead of pushing out the same game
Yeah.
every 1 or 2 years. But an interesting thing about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's not in the notes, but they said that there is not going to be any side quests, which means the game is even less
Well,
finished.
here I've got here. Let me pull this up real quick. Sorry.
No, don't go for it. I didn't prepare it, so.
Well, I've got a rebuttal to that actually.
Oh, you do?
I do. Let me just pull it up. I may edit this. this here's the article from Assassin's Creed game, or from GameSpot rather, about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it says Assassin's Creed Valhalla will have almost no side quests. This comes from Andrea Renee, and she said on Twitter, "This headline feels like semantics, clickbait issue. In my 3+ hours, I ran into many side quests, and I spoke with the quest director, who also said otherwise, and who is probably doing a big facepalm right now. Splitting hairs over what you call them doesn't make doing the side content any less real or relevant to Eivor's progression. If what I played is any indication, there is no shortage of content to play in Assassin's Creed Valhalla."
Okay. So I guess it could be that there is actual side quest where like you go to somebody and they're like, "Hey, you gotta do this for me," and then you do that thing for them. But the way that article is worded, that you just worded, that it could just be, to go to this tower, you do this thing in this tower, you have to pick up collectibles in order to progress your character, you have to...
I doubt it. What I'm assuming it is the side quests are more like intrinsically connected to the main story, so they don't call them side quests. They're like optional missions or whatever, and it's just like the semantics of calling something a side quest versus a optional mission, optional story mission. Because a lot of games have like optional story missions and side quests, where maybe this game is like, these are all optional story missions. I know also Assassin's Creed is huge right now on, just extra content. And it's like, maybe there is no like, there is like the main story, but then there's a bunch of like side stories as well. So instead of them being side quests, there's side stories. You know what I mean?
It could just be semantics. I saw that today. I looked into it, and it was just people like saying, well, it could just be a whole bunch of fetching stuff where you don't really. There's no.
But I mean, Assassin's Creed is fetch quests to begin with, and it always has been.
It's always it's
even
all
the main story is fetch quests. So like,
checking boxes and shit. For sure. And then what was the last thing that they showed, Jake?
The last thing they showed was Far Cry 6, which comes out February 18th, 2021. And I gotta say, it looks pretty cool. They didn't show any gameplay, but they have the guy who played Gus in Breaking Bad. He's the new villain. They're also back on a tropical island, which I can get behind, because my biggest problem with Far Cry 5 was it took place in Montana, which I don't have an issue with it taking place in Montana. The reason I had an issue with it taking place in Montana is Montana's flat as fuck. And like a big part of Far Cry is the wingsuit and like jumping off ledges and shit.
And you're stuck there. Yeah. You're trying to find a way out because you're stuck there.
But like Far Cry 5 was just like this flat plains with a bunch of trees and maybe some hills, but it wasn't like the mountainous, like treed area with a bunch of beaches and like, I don't know. So I'm excited for it. I'll probably play it in February.
I don't know. I was turned off after Far Cry 4.
I really liked 4. I thought 4 was great.
I didn't like 4, and
I also really liked Primal. 5 was the first one that I was like, ugh.
Yeah, but I played 3. I enjoyed 3. As shallow as the main character was, I really liked the villains, and it looks like they
You didn't like Pagan Min, though?
I liked Pagan Min. I wanted to side with Pagan Min, but the game doesn't let you do that unless you just sit at his table for 15 minutes.
But like the end of the game, and spoilers, you have the option to either let him fly away or shoot him with a rocket launcher. So it is kind of like you get the choice at the end of the game.
I guess so. I'd never made it
and
that
it's
far.
Also kind of implied that he's like your father, too, which is spoilers.
Yeah. Well,
that game's fucking awesome, dude. I love that game.
I've made it to like the Revolution, and it's like the only reason I'm here is to scatter my mom's ashes over the spot that she wanted me to scatter the ashes. And then it's like, you have to get involved in our revolution. I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care.
But then it turns out that you're more connected to the revolution than you had initially thought.
I guess.
Because your mom was like a big part of the revolution. She also had a relationship with Pagan Min. Turns out that you might actually be Pagan Min's son. And like, yeah, that game's great. And then also Far Cry Primal's great too. It's a fun game.
I didn't play anything. I didn't beat 4.
I liked Far Cry 5's story.
Primal.
Far Cry 5's story was like good. I just didn't like the map layout. It just turned me off, and it was glitchy as fuck.
Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of hoping that this one's a little more interesting to me. I really like that Gus from Breaking Bad. I forget the actor's name, but he's really good, and he would put some real like tension in this kind of game. You know,
he's really like smoking a cigar. That. He looks awesome.
He does. He looks great. They did a great job with that. That's pretty much it, right?
What is there to look forward to next week or this week, Nick?
This week, there's not much. We have Ghost of Tsushima.
I think that's a big deal.
On Friday. But, I mean, like, there's not going to be a whole lot of news other than there's not going to be, there's no, like, scheduled, you know, Nintendo Directs or scheduled, the Xbox thing's not for next week. So we could do next week. We could talk about our predictions for what the Xbox thing is going to have.
Absolutely.
So you could look forward to that next week.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about Ghost of Tsushima next week. We'll probably talk about our predictions of the Xbox stuff next week. Other than that, that's pretty much it. We'll fill you in.
I'm sure someone will come out as a sex offender over the next week that we'll have to talk about too.
Well, yeah, we'll cover the news as it comes out as well. But you know, that's what we have scheduled. So, look forward to that. And finish off the show, we got this week's question that we're asking you guys is: we know the answers. We always know the answers.
We have all the answers.
We have all the answers. But we like to put it in your court for once.
And we'll give you the answer next week. That's why you have to tune back in.
Yeah, that you got to keep coming back for those. So the question is, what is the future of E3 and game conferences as a whole?
And we have the answer.
Yep.
We have the answer. And we'll answer it next week.
Yep, absolutely. And then plugs.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us on this adventure. It was a fun one. There was a lot to talk about, but yet nothing really to talk about. Kind of interesting concept there. That seems like video games news these days. So much to talk about, but nothing to talk about. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Loner Gamecast. Make sure you check out the Jake and Corey podcast every Monday. Make sure you check out the spoiler cast of The Last of Us Part 2. The video is doing really well. We appreciate you checking it out. It was fun to do.
What's kind of weird about that video is we didn't really spoil a whole lot. Like we didn't just come out and go like spoilers, bam, all the big spoilers. We kind of like layered it in there, and we
definitely like made that spoiler cast for people who have played the game before.
True,
because we didn't like break it down super hardcore. We just kind of went into it expecting that whoever's listening to it has also played the game.
True.
And I had a good time doing it.
And it was fun. It's a nice
keep
discussion.
an eye out on the channel for more videos that I'm working on. Also, Nick is probably working on some stuff too. Check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Lonercast. Bye-bye.
Follow on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, emergency pizza _.
Yep.
Yeah, good times.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good time.